What's the most disturbing thing you've ever witnessed at Christmas dinner? I'd been suspicious of my mom's boyfriend for weeks, and I was certain he was a con artist. I found documents in his car with a completely different name. The company where he claimed to work had no record of him, and there were photos on his phone of another woman who looked weirdly similar to my mom. When my mom announced at the start of Christmas dinner that he'd be moving in with us after New Year's, my stomach dropped. This was my only chance to expose him before my mom's life became completely tangled up with a fraud. I started with innocent questions about his job, while my uncle and grandparents nodded along like he was already family, and when I asked why his company website didn't list him anywhere, his smile flickered before he said they must not have updated it yet. That's weird because I called them, and they said they've never heard of you. The table went quiet, and my mom said my name in a warning tone, but I kept going. So, where do you actually work? He looked at me with wet eyes and said, I would never deceive your mother. I need you to understand that. My grandmother shot me a look like I was the villain here, but something about his response made my skin crawl because he wasn't even trying to answer my questions. He was just staring at my mom with this desperate intensity, like she was the only real person in the room, and the rest of us were furniture. I'm not trying to be difficult, I said carefully. I just want to know who you really are. He reached across the table like he was going to touch my hand, and I pulled back instinctively. I'm the man who loves your mother more than you could possibly understand, he said softly. I waited so long to find her again. The word again hung in the air wrong. My uncle glared at me to drop it, but across the table my grandfather had gone very still because he'd noticed something off too. The boyfriend's fingers were tapping the wood in a slow rhythm that didn't match anything, and his head tilted slightly to one side like a dog hearing a sound nobody else could hear. What do you mean again? I asked. You met her 8 months ago. He just smiled at me with absolutely nothing behind his eyes. Did I? My mom reached over to squeeze his hand and told me that was enough, that I was embarrassing myself, and when he grabbed her hand back it was just a little too hard. I saw her wince for a split second before she covered it with a smile. You should listen to your mother, he said to me, and his voice had dropped into something flat that made the back of my neck prickle. She knows what happens when people don't let things go. I pulled out my phone and showed the table the photo of the other woman I'd found. Then who is this? Everyone looked at this brunette, who could have been my mom's twin from 10 years ago, and he went so completely still, I wasn't sure he was breathing anymore. When he finally raised his eyes, his whole face had shifted into something I'd never seen on anyone. That's not another woman, he said, in a voice gone completely flat and empty. That's your mother, from before she left me. Nobody at that table made a sound. He said my mom was his wife who disappeared 7 years ago, that the police claimed she drowned, but he knew she was too smart for that. He pulled a tarnished wedding ring from his jacket pocket and held it toward my mom with shaking hands. I kept this all these years because I knew you'd come back to me eventually. My grandfather's chair crashed against the wall as he shot to his feet and stepped toward him. Get the hell out of my daughter's house right now before I throw you out myself. The boyfriend turned to face him with a slow, controlled movement, and I watched the person we thought we knew disappear from behind his eyes like a mask being lifted away. His posture shifted into something coiled and dangerous, shoulders rolling back and chin down, and when he spoke, his voice was so calm, it made every hair on my body stand straight up. He looked directly at my mom and said, she tried to leave once. Ask her how that worked out. The room understood all at once exactly what we were dealing with. His wife hadn't just disappeared. She'd been so terrified of this man that she faked her own death and started over with nothing just to escape him. And whatever made her that desperate was now standing in our dining room wearing a Christmas sweater my mom had given him as a present. My uncle fumbled for his phone to call 911 while my grandmother threw herself between this man and my mother, and suddenly everyone was shouting and moving at once while my aunt grabbed the kids to pull them out of the room. When we turned back to where he'd been standing, he was gone. No footsteps, no door, nothing. We installed cameras on every entrance the next day, and my mom started sleeping with her door locked, but 3 weeks later she found that tarnished wedding ring on her pillow, and none of the cameras caught a thing.